Hello viewers of class 8, welcome. Today we are going to discuss about lesson number 7, which was also known as the First War of Indian Independence. You may know that before the coming of the British, Mughal rules were established. After the coming of the British, Mughal rules were finished and British rule was established, and due to which we could say that British rule over India for almost 200 years. For the first 100 years, we have seen that they established their rule and started creating many difficulties, due to which people in various areas started revolting against the British. This part, this shows that revolt was not a new name after the coming of the British. All the revolts were localized. All the revolts were localized. As it was localized, they were somewhere happen in some other places. Like some revolts happen in Gujarat, some revolts happen in Maharashtra, some revolts happen in some other parts of India, whereas no nationalized movement was there. But this was the first movement which affected almost many parts of India, excluding some southern parts. And it was, moreover, a successful revolution. But later, due to some circumstances, this revolt became unsuccessful. So let's discuss about the revolution, about the revolt, which was known as the First War of Indian Independence. And I hope you all understood that this is the revolt of 1857, which I am talking about. Lesson number 7. Now let's talk about the causes for the revolt of 1857. As I have already told you that the revolt was neither, you can say, completely successful, nor you can say unsuccessful. So 90% of it became successful. Only 10% was unsuccessful due to some circumstances. So let's see what were the causes for the beginning of this movement, this revolt, the revolt of 1857. The first cause is the economic cause. Economic cause. Under economic causes, we could see that industrial revolution, land revenue system, reservation, and many other things were added. So let's see what is industrial revolution. Industrial revolution means growing of industries somewhere in Europe, and through which cheaper products were being sold in India. Those cheaper products gave good competition, or gave a tough competition to the handmade goods produced in India. So later we could see that because of the industrial revolution and because of the cheaper products by the industries completely ruined our handmade industry, and due to which the weavers, those who were working in the uh, weaving industries and all, they were unemployed, and they joined agriculture, which put more pressure on land, which was already in a pathetic condition. Next was the land revenue system. Because of the land revenue system, whatever land the Indians have, they have to pay revenue over it, which also created some problems. And then comes the reservation. Reservation in the higher places, higher posts for the British created another nuisance. Okay, so industrial revolution, land revenue, reservation, due to which people become poorer and poorer, and due to which we could separate it as an economic cause because it belongs to money matter. Okay, people become poor and poor. that is the main cause for the revolt of 1857, which were slowly rising. And next comes is the religious and the cultural causes, where in the religious cause we could see that sati system and widow remarriage belongs to Hindu caste. So Hindu people used to burn alive their the if the husband of a woman died, then the woman must be put into the funeral pyre of the husband. That means she need to burn alive with the funeral pyre of her dead husband. Then widow remarriage, after stopping this sati system, so the woman is left. Once the woman is left, they must get some another person to be married. So they thought of some other idea, and this is which was known as widow remarriage. So these two acts, the sati and the widow remarriage, created much difficulty to the Hindu community. Then conversion means Christian missionaries tried to convert Hindu and the Muslims into Christianity, which also did not like by the many communities. Not only that, Wahhabi movement and many other were also started by the Muslims because of these things. Wahhabi movement in Bengal actually started because of the Persian language, which was uh, uh, brought by the Muslim rulers. As Muslim rulers were there before the coming of the British and before the coming of the Mughals, Hindu rulers were there. So Persian language was brought or started by this Mughal ruler, and when Britishers came, the Britishers started making English as a language, okay, main language. So for that also they were angry. Now comes now come to military causes. You can see this General Service Enlistment Act of 1856. This act, according to this act, all the Indian soldiers must go and work or go and work outside of India, which is not liked by the Indian communities, because many of the Hindu communities believe that they must not cross 7 oceans, okay, so they must not go outside of their country and cross 7 oceans to work there. So that also brought many difficulties in the military causes. And another problem is that, which is related to economic causes only. Here the reservation for the higher post belongs to the Britishers, plus we could see that the salary, the payment, the salary of the Indian soldiers were much less than the Britishers. You could see in the page number 50 regarding that. Now let's talk about the political causes. Here we could see subsidiary alliance, doctrine of lapse, and many other techniques they have used to capture land in India. Subsidiary alliance here means that a particular small nation, or small kingdom, they used to occupy, so conquer. How? They go nearby the king and they say that they will give protection to these kingdoms, and for that protection they must give them a chance to trade within their kingdom without paying any kind of taxes. Like that, slowly they used to conquer the whole kingdom. And within this subsidiary alliance, the army of that particular kingdom was also removed. Oh, okay, and instead of that, British army used to join there. The doctrine of lapse, next point, the doctrine of lapse within political causes is that if there is no any natural heir of any king, then the particular kingdom will transfer to the British Raj. Then some other examples were there within political causes where we could see that some kingdoms were taken in the name of misgovernance. Okay, so then comes the immediate cause. So these were the problems, okay, slowly rising up. But the main problem because of which the revolt of 1857 was started is the immediate cause. Immediate cause, where we could see that there was a bullet, okay, which was made out of a company called Enfield, the Enfield rifle. Within that Enfield rifle, what we have to see here, that there was a cartridge. So this cartridge we need to fill in the Enfield rifle, and within that Enfield rifle, before putting this cartridge into the Enfield rifle, you need to bit it off. Okay, so once you bit it off, whatever the grease is there, it used to touch your lips or mouth. Okay, so here a rumor starts. Okay, the rumor starts on 22nd January 1857. The rumor starts on 22nd January 1857, where we could see that the cartridge was filled with the fat of cow and pig, which was not accepted by the two main communities of India, that is Hindu and Muslims. Hindus believe that cow as a sacred, whereas Muslims believe that they must not eat pig meat. So that was the main reason behind the revolt of 1857. Mangal Pandey, the name is here, who led the revolt. Later, he was hanged for killing two British personnel. Next, now you can see the outbreak of the revolt. Here, in the outbreak of the revolt, 9 May 1857 in Meerut, soldiers mutinied, revolted. Okay, and those soldiers who mutinied, who revolted against the British, they got imprisonment of 10 years. Hearing about this 10 years of imprisonment for the group of soldiers who mutinied in Meerut on 9 May 1857, the next day, all other soldiers released those soldiers who were imprisoned, and they reached Delhi. They marched towards Delhi and reached Delhi and proclaimed the old pensioner of British, that is the Bahadur Shah Jafar. They proclaimed him as the emperor of India. Okay, that is the outbreak of the revolt in this sense. Now next we will talk about the spread of the revolt. Now you could see in this spread of the revolt, the main centers were Kanpur, Lucknow, Bareilly, Ara, Jhansi and many more. Even in some parts of Assam also were affected by this. So as I have already told you in the introduction part, that this revolt is localized in many parts. Later on it spread to many parts of India, but at first these revolts were localized and no national movement was started. You could see in this the spread of the revolt. Here you could see in many princely states, while the rulers loyal to the British, the soldiers revolted. And not only soldiers, but peasants, farmers, laborers, they were also coming and joining the revolt. Okay, the first revolt, okay, which is in Kanpur, which was led by Nana Saheb, the adopted son of the last Peshwa, Bajirao II. Nana Saheb had been denied the pension that his foster father, that means he was not his natural heir. So due to which he's become a prince, he can't become a king. So due to which Nana Saheb led the revolt, which is only for his self-interest. You can see In Kunwar Singh also successfully freed many parts of Bihar, which is also a localized revolt. Even in parts of Jhansi, where Jhansi ki Rani, that is खूब लड़ी मर्दानी, वो तो झांसी वाली रानी थी, बुंडेले हर बोलो की हमने सुनी कहानी थी. That is also a localized revolt. Maybe it's a part of the revolt of 1857, but actually these are all localized. Jhansi ki Rani was fighting for Jhansi, Kunwar Singh was fighting for Bihar, and Nana Saheb, that is, he was fighting for his own place, which is Kanpur. Okay, these are all localized revolt. Later on, these revolts were suppressed by the British. Now let's go to the next point, that is the end of the Mughal Empire. How do the end of the Mughal Empire started? You could see when in Delhi the Meerut soldiers reached and proclaimed Bahadur Shah Jafar as the Mughal Emperor of India, as the Emperor of India. The British got angry and they started bringing reinforcement from those areas where this revolt did not start, like Punjab, from South India, and many other places. Okay, so when reinforcement arrived, with the help of General O'Neill, British troops launched a massacre in Delhi, killing everyone on his way. Later on, Bahadur Shah Jafar's sons were captured and killed, and even Bahadur Shah Jafar was also sent to Rangoon, which is in Burma, and later on he died there. He is even tomb. Today also it is available there. The next topic is the aftermath of the revolt. In the beginning, the revolt was a success. We could see that Britishers were moving away. In some parts we could see that Britishers left everything and they ran away. Okay, and many attempts were made to brush aside the revolt of the handiwork of a handful troublemakers. Troublemakers means those who used to help the Britishers, okay, and not helping the Indians. So despite every effort of brushing aside all the Britishers from India, Hindus and Muslims were mostly divided. They were unable to do that because of some difficulties. That is, as I told you, that this revolt was localized, and because of this localized revolt, no national leaders were there, due to which some kingdoms were helping British and some kingdoms were helping the revolutionaries. Okay, so let's know the reasons for the revolt, failure of the revolt. So the reasons for failure is lack of unity among the Indians. You could see, as I told you, that some Indians were supporting this revolt and some were not. Most of those who were literate, those who were literate, those who know read and write, they did not support this revolt. Those who were illiterate, most of them supported it. Okay. So the lack of unity among the Indians. So some names were given here. Sindhia of Gwalior, Nizam of Hyderabad, Holkar of Indore gave active support to the British. Okay. Most of South India and Western Punjab stayed out of the rebellion. In areas of Punjab, the people were happy with the efficient administration of the British. So you could easily imagine that some liked the British and some didn't, due to which lack of unity can be seen among the Indians. Next is lack of a national leader. Okay, lack of a national leader here, I mean to say that there is no active leader who controls this revolt, that is the revolt of 1857. As you know that Kunwar Singh was active in Bihar. In Jhansi, Jhansi ki Rani, Lakshmi Bai was active. Whereas Nana Sahib in Kanpur. But you see, these are all local people in local areas, but no national leaders were there. In today's world, if you call Narendra Modi, he is a national leader. If you call Rahul Gandhi, he is also a national leader. Okay, so everybody knows him, knows them. So that is the lack of a national leader we could see. And even if you see by that time, after that Mahatma Gandhi came up. So Mahatma Gandhi was also become a national leader, but not during the time of the revolt of 1857. Okay. So then lack of resources. Lack of resources here, it means that all the Indians, they were fighting with the help of daws, with the help of talwars, with the help of swords, or with the help of the bhalas and all, or the bows and arrows. But what the Britishers were fighting with? British army were fighting with the help of the guns and bullets, which certainly gave them a benefit against the Indian people, okay, while fighting. That is the lack of resources. Now let's talk about the results of the revolt. Now you can see the result. The number one is that the rise of nationalism. Rise of nationalism. Nationalism means love towards one's own country. Okay, development of nationalism or feeling. A feeling. It is a feeling. Okay, love towards one's own country. When somebody will tell you that India is a backward country, India is a this country, that country, it will certainly develop some kind of feelings on your mind or on your soul. Okay, so that means it will make you feel bad when somebody says bad about our own country. That is the rise of nationalism, a feeling developed after the revolt of 1857. Okay, the next is the reorganization of the British Empire in India. Here 2 point is told here. Reorganization means reshuffling. Okay, so the India was brought directly under the ground. You may know that East India Company came to India first as a trading body in India, but later on they started establishing rule over India. After the revolt of 1857, their charter was cancelled and India directly comes under the British Empire, that is the British Crown. Okay, then comes the reorganization of the army. Within reorganization of the British Empire, reorganization of army is also there. Another point here, it is told that the number of British troops was increased greatly. The British replaced sepoys who were Brahmins, Rajputs, and those from Awadh, Bihar, and central India with Gurkhas, Sikhs, and Pathans. Gurkha, Sikh, and Pathans were not today's army. They were from very early stage. That means from before the revolt of the 1857, they were in the British army. But the number was increased after the revolt of 1857 because they served them during the difficult times of the revolt of 1857. That means they helped British at the time of need, at the time of the revolt of 1857. But the people, the soldiers who belong to Awadh, Meerut, Bihar, central India, Rajputs, they did not help British during the time of the revolt of 1857. So it is you who will take the decision to consider who is what. The next comes the Queen's Proclamation. Okay, Queen Victoria's proclamation. In 1858, Queen Victoria issued a proclamation which granted unconditional pardon to all rebels. Okay, all the rebels who took part in the revolt of 1857, except those who had killed British people. Those who had killed British people, they will be executed, and they were too. Also, after the revolt, the British attitude towards India changed. They started developing Indian areas of their interest. Okay. Tenancy Acts. So, Tenancy Act, Bengal Tenancy Act of 1859, you could see Britishers tried to ensure the welfare of the people. They were trying to help the people, and they were trying to uh, make them understand that the Britishers were with them, and they were trying to develop the areas. But actually, what you could see, they tried to ensure the welfare of the people by stating that any peasant who could prove that he had occupied a piece of land for 12 years where he is settled, wherever his home is there, if he can prove that he is there for 12 years or more, then he was granted tenancy right and could not be evicted from the land. Okay. Then comes Lord Canning, who became Viceroy of India after the revolt, and his successor put in place several schemes to develop the country. The most important outcome of the revolt we could see here was the India passed onto the crown from the company. Now company cannot do whatever they want, that is the East India Company. It is the crown, it is the British government now, British Empire, now they can look after the Indian people. That is, almost 100 years East India Company ruled, and almost 90 years the British Empire, the British Crown ruled India. With that, I conclude my chapter. If there is any improvement is needed, please comment so I could know. Thank you. Bye bye.